Welcome to Pop Cult, where we talk reality TV, celebrity chaos, and pop culture throwbacks. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pop Cult. I'm Avery.
And I'm Julia.
And we are your hosts. Today's episode is another episode of the Fame Files, which is what we do on Thursdays, for anyone who doesn't know, because we do say it every episode. We do on Thursdays an episode about a pop culture throwback event. It could be a scandal. It could be a celebrity relationship. In February, we're going to start doing like deep dives into different public figures and celebrities. I have started a list. I don't know if you've seen the list that I started.
I don't know.
It's just like random people that I think of. And then on Tuesdays, we do our reality digest episodes, which are our recaps of all of the reality shows that we watch every week. And we've just rolled a new one in. Traitors started this week, and I think this episode will be coming out 1 week after Traitors comes out, but it's fitting, and partially I did do this on purpose, admittedly. Colton Underwood, a former Bachelor, is on the season of Traitors, and he is our Fame Files topic today, specifically his stalking scandal.
I watched Colton's season of The Bachelor live. I watched all the events unfold after live, and now I'm watching him live on Traitors. Avery hasn't watched it yet, but I have. First of all, we'll talk about this. This is my first time ever watching Traitors. I've never seen prior seasons. So I got really into it, and I'm upset that there's only 3 episodes out, and I low-key might go watch all the other seasons.
It's so good. I've only watched 1 season, but it's just like a fun show to watch because there is an end goal. And they do leave you on like a cliffhanger. Like, I just feel like it's been a really long time since I've watched like cliffhanger TV.
The mafia aspect of it, like I love playing mafia. Like
it's a fun game.
I play that all the time at like summer camps and like on field trips and stuff like that. So I really love that part. But yeah, so now I'm watching him on this, knowing all of his past stuff, and it's just really hard for me to watch him just like be like funny and like laughing. But it's just weird to see him like acting normal on this TV show, knowing what he's done in the past. And I'm like,
and that's kind of like, we'll talk about it, but like that's kind of some of the criticism is like, why do we keep giving this man a platform?
Like I think I would have understood it if he was on Special Forces.
True, I could see him being on Special Forces after this.
I felt like a lot of people on Special Forces were looking for like a redemption of some kind, but like
100%, yeah, like Jussie
really
Smollett.
The vibe I'm getting from like Traitors.
No, not at all. And I think we'll talk about this at the end of the episode, but he also just hosted a reality show with Caitlin Bristowe via, I think maybe Hulu. So also really strange. I don't like this man.
I have a good ass team. That's all I'm gonna say for that.
Seriously, his PR is actually working overtime because the fact that, and honestly, part of it, once everybody hears the details of this, like, I think a huge part of him being able to move forward and continue to be a public figure without any sort of negative press is due to how classy his ex-fiance or ex-girlfriend is, who is the other party involved in the scandal that we're about to talk about. If she was not such a level-headed and seemingly from the outside good person, I don't think that he would be continuing to be
was she kind of like an advocate TV for him? Space. I don't feel as if I remember this.
No, she just was like very much did not blow it out of proportion and was very gracious, in my opinion. That was kind of my thought process as I was writing this, and I am not a Colton fan. I remember when they made him The Bachelor, and I just feel like there were like I feel like The Bachelor always does this. Like, there's always better options, and they always pick the most cookie cutter, bland man that they can possibly find.
Yeah, because he wasn't even like top 3 on Becca's season, because I watched that one live too. He was like the 5th one or something. Like, he did not make it to Hometowns.
Yeah, I think he was sent home during Hometowns. So, but I mean, you're right. He wasn't top 3. Usually it is top 3 that they make the next lead.
Or like the runner-up or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like The Bachelor loves a former NFL player, like that archetype is their bread and butter.
I literally Mel, like what we just had to go through.
Don't even talk to me about. I have PTSD from The Golden Bachelor. We are never watching that show again.
No, I don't want to.
Like, genuinely, I would pluck out my eyebrow hairs one by one before I watched another season of The Golden Bachelor. Holy shit, that was a terrible time in our lives. But yes, I agree with you. Elle is Colton in 50 years.
Yeah. He looks like him too.
No, they do. That's the thing. They all look like this same thing happened when they freaking cast Clayton Echard as the Bachelor. Former football player, the most boring, bland, cookie cutter, basic human being, brought nothing unique or interesting to the table, but they just love a man who used to play in the NFL. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm pretty sure that Clayton's season was when I think that was Michelle. Was it Michelle Young? I think that was her. I can't remember her last name, but her name was Michelle. And she had like the best group of guys, Clayton aside. And they picked Clayton. They freaking picked Clayton to be
then he like ruined
the Bachelor.
Everything.
Literally, it was horrible. And now he posts those disturbing dance videos. But nonetheless, this episode is not about Clayton. It is about Colton. In case and no one could distinguish the difference between them.
Literally the same name.
Like, the police would put the two of them in a lineup. Is there anything that you know about this? I kind of think you don't know. I don't know if you do.
I know about the jumping up the wall and the restraining order.
Okay. For sure.
But I the details I'm fuzzy on. What was this, like 2019? This was pre-COVID. Yeah. So I was like 17.
It was pre and post-COVID.
So the season was pre-COVID and then all the stuff that was happening during COVID?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, my memory of that time is not great. Blocked a lot of that out.
For sure. Let's jump into it. You might be wondering, who is Colton Underwood? Because why would you know who Colton Underwood is unless you've been watching The Bachelor for 20 years, like Julia and I? Colton Underwood is a former contestant on The Bachelorette from season 14, which was Becca Kufrin's season. And as Julia previously mentioned, he was sent home during hometowns on Becca's season, which would have made him like top 4. He was also a contestant on Bachelor in Paradise, where he dated a woman named Tia Booth, who was from Arkansas. I wanted to throw that in there because me and Julia have family that lives in Arkansas. But they broke up before the season ended. And I remember watching that Bachelor in Paradise season. I forgot about him
on Bachelor in Paradise.
I know. It's always so weird when somebody who's on Bachelor in Paradise then becomes the lead. Or was a lead and then goes on Bachelor in Paradise. It just feels like almost like a fall from grace, but not that it's that deep, but I just always think about that. It was fairly obvious, in my opinion, when he was on Bachelor in Paradise dating Tia, that he was not interested in her. Yeah. And people were kind of putting them together. I'm not really sure, maybe because they had like a similar background. I honestly can't remember. But eventually, he did become the lead of season 23 of The Bachelor. His persona, because we all know they always have a persona and some sort of like hook to like that becomes their entire personality the whole season. His persona was that he was like the all-American football guy next door archetype. But the biggest thing was that he was a 26-year-old virgin.
Stop. Shut the fuck up. I did not remember that at all. Are you so for real? This is real?
I'm so for real. I'm so for real. I had kind of forgotten about it too.
Okay, because I remember Heather. I don't know if you will talk about her.
But we don't, but I know, but yes, go for it.
Heather had never been kissed, and that was like her job title when she did her confessionals. It was Heather never been kissed, and then they do kiss, and it goes Heather been kissed.
Oh my god.
I really remember. But that's crazy. That's crazy.
They were so diabolical with his season, like genuinely. And let us be clear. There is nothing wrong with that, like at all. No. But for some reason,
I'm sorry if it came off like that. That just really threw me.
No. But it is funny because also he completely leaned into that, and also that is not. I just want to put it on the record. That is not information that he had to share when he was going through his interviews to be the Bachelor or to be on The Bachelorette. So he did that on his own merit. You know what I mean? But it was like the whole thing around it was it was strange that he was just of the stereotypes that we all know of like athletes, football players, NFL football players to in particular, that he was a virgin at 26 was because of the stereotypes, it was strange. So nonetheless, that was like his whole thing, and all the women obviously knew this, and it was just a really odd thing to lead with, and on his part and on the network's part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, like I said, prior to his time on reality TV, he was a professional football player for the San Diego Chargers. He also, so this is technically post his run on The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, but I wanted to just throw this in there to show you how long he dated women for. He also dated Aly Raisman, the Olympic gymnast, sometime between 2016 and 2017, in between his runs on the Bachelor franchise. There were reports that he also dated Lucy Hale for a brief period of time after his breakup with his finalist when he was the lead. I don't know how true that is. I do kind of like vaguely remember this, but I don't know that it was ever like confirmed that they were dating. I don't even know how they would have met.
I do feel like the Bachelor people do somehow end up in like these spots where they will meet like more like Hollywood celebrities, but that's odd. I don't think so.
100%. Lucy Hale is weird. Something about her, she went from being on, in my opinion, one of the best shows to ever grace network television, Pretty Little Liars, to kind of becoming like a D-list celeb. Like, I don't really know what happened to her. Now she's just on like really bad like rom-coms that don't ever hit theaters. It's strange. Maybe we'll do a deep dive on her. Nonetheless, his season of The Bachelor where he was the lead was quite dramatic. Like you mentioned, he did jump a fence at one point and ran away from production while in a foreign country. They were visiting Portugal at the time. His season was also the season where Hannah Brown was introduced to us, so I had forgotten that, and I was like, oh my god, what an icon of the Bachelor franchise. But the other thing that kind of made this season unconventional was the fact that the woman that he ended up with at the end had actually quit the season herself before it concluded, and without getting sent home. She felt that she was not ready for an engagement, and so she broke up with him and decided to exit the show, a la Susie Evans and Clayton Eckert's season a few seasons later. Similar situation. She did eventually come back to the season after having a conversation with Colton where he assured her that he would not propose, that he knew she wasn't ready, so he wouldn't pop the question, but he did want to be with her, and he subsequently broke up with his other two finalists. I believe his other two finalists were Tayshia, who ends up being a lead a few seasons later.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best lead that the Bachelor franchise has ever had.
Tayshia. She's not with anybody anymore, right?
No, I do think she might be in a relationship.
She was with Zach, and she was with like John Paul Jones, right?
Oh my god, when she was on Bachelor in Paradise,
yeah.
But I think that was before she was the lead.
Yeah, it was. But I think her and Zach, I think that's his name. I don't think they're together anymore.
No, they're not. They're not together anymore. That was devastating for me when they broke up, honestly. Yeah. But I do think she might be in a relationship. I just don't know that she like is public about it. His other finalist, I think, was Hannah Godwin, who is now married to somebody also from Bachelor world.
Love her and Dylan. That's one of my favorite relationships. Yeah, I love them together. Yeah. I know it was really dicey when they were first getting together on Paradise, but like whatever, the past is the past. They're married now. It's all good.
100%. Maybe one day we'll do an episode on like Bachelor couples that made it. That would be kind of fun.
That would be fun.
A few months later, Colton and his finalist confirmed that they were in a relationship after the final rose in March of 2019. So the show that happens after the finale of every Bachelor season. This brings me to our other involved party, which was Cassie Randolph, Colton's Bachelor finalist and eventual girlfriend. A little bit about her: she is born and raised in Southern California and was 23 when she was on the show, but this was actually not her first appearance on the camera. This is like so niche and fun.
Oh my god, yes.
I came across this tidbit and I was like, I have to put this in here. In 2016, she was part of some sort of reality web series that followed Christian students at a Southern California university called, I think it's Biola. It might be Biola. I've never heard of this school before. But we're going to go with Biola because I don't like the way that Biola sounds. This university was an evangelical school that pushed abstinence-only rules and banned alcohol and drugs. That was like their mission statement.
Lovely.
It's giving BYU.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting for me to learn because that just didn't seem like her vibe. All in all, though, Cassie and Colton ended up dating for about a year and a half, maybe longer when you consider the timeline of the show.
Yeah.
But ultimately, their relationship would end up with Cassie getting a restraining order against Colton and then Colton coming out as gay.
What a spin.
It's just like, you cannot make this shit up, you know? It's just really funny when you really
can't
put it out there.
I do believe like Cassie is married now to somebody else. Very recently married.
Yes, you're right. We'll talk about it at the end.
Seem to have worked out.
They're actually both married.
Yeah.
But you might be wondering, how did we get here?
I don't know.
Let's back up. We are going to talk about the events that unfolded on The Bachelor really quickly because it all kind of leads into everything else. Colton Underwood's season of The Bachelor aired January 7th, 2019, where he first met Cassie Randolph when she arrived in the limo with fake butterflies. I don't know like if she had them in a box or something, but basically her shtick was like she has so many butterflies about meeting him, which that was definitely a producer definitely set that up for her and like made her do that. The whole season she was kind of unsure about him. But the real drama started in Portugal during Fantasy Suite week. She decided to forego the Fantasy Suite because she needed to tell Colton that while she loved him, she wasn't fully in love, and at that point she self-eliminated. Colton was heartbroken, and this was when he jumped the fence because he was so convinced that she was the one for him and neither of the other women were for him. And so he dumped them and went after Cassie, but not before jumping the fence.
Couldn't the fence have just opened?
Like, where was he going is my question.
You have to drive to get anywhere, so I know he wasn't walking.
And also, like, learning a little bit more, just like seeing Watch What Happens Live and like listening to podcasts with reality stars and stuff, like, it's actually such a liability if production doesn't know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that they were like freaking out when that happened.
Yeah.
But also, I think my biggest issue here is that this whole situation is just giving I want her because I can't have her.
Probably exactly what it was at the time.
It's like, and that's not to say, like, obviously they didn't end up together, so I feel confident in this read of the situation, but like she was unsure about him the whole time. I'm sure that he picked up on that. To me, that is as obvious as it gets, that he just, it's like they always say, play hard to get. Like, she was doing that, but not on purpose, and that was making him want her even more.
Yeah.
So basically, after he dumps Tayshia and Hannah, he goes to her hotel room and convinces her to just date him post-show. He's like, I'm not going to propose. I just want to date. Like, at least just give it a shot off camera. And Cassie's like, okay, fine. She agrees to give it another go and just, like, take it day by day. She explained eventually that she had a really controlling boyfriend in college, and that's what was making her hesitant to really commit. All in all, though, things seemed to be going well by the time that after the final rose rolled around. They seemed happy. They would always post together. They were photographed a lot. But of course, we all know social media is fake because things were not as perfect behind the curtain. In 2020, Colton Underwood wrote a memoir. I did not read it, but I'm just going to read the description quickly.
I didn't know that he had a book.
Me neither. And I'm not going to read it. It's
no,
not.
I can't say that it's something that I want to spend my time doing.
It's not on my list. Nonetheless, I'm reading this because this kind of explains a little bit of what went into their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The description of the book is, first of all, it's titled The First Time, which makes me want to die.
Yeah.
And the description reads, Colton opens up about how he came to find himself and true love at the same time via The Bachelor franchise. Unencumbered by cameras and commercial breaks, he delivers a surprisingly raw, endearing, and seriously juicy account of his journey through The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, and The Bachelor. He opens up about being dumped by Becca, his secret alliance with Tia, what it was like to be the world's most famous virgin, his behind-the-scene conflicts with production, and how his on-camera responsibilities as The Bachelor nearly destroyed him after he knew he had already fallen in love with Cassie.
Honestly, if things didn't escalate post this, I would be interested in reading that. If we're just like at this moment.
100%. I actually agree with you, but I think knowing that what he got away with and that he's still able to like have a platform is really annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's what you feel the same way.
Yeah.
So in this book, he reveals that they had actually briefly broken up in August of 2019. So this is only a few months after the final rose. But basically, they were just having a hard time communicating, and it was a mutual breakup, but they ultimately did end up getting back together. Unfortunately, this was short-lived because less than a year after this, they split for good in May of 2020. So about 2 months after COVID began.
Okay.
Just for context, they were 28 years. He was 28 and she was 25 when they split. They made the typical Instagram breakup post, like a full post, not just a story with a notes app screenshot.
Okay.
It was a grid post. I don't even know if stories were a thing at this time, honestly. Now that I think about it.
That's taking me back.
I know.
Were stories really, did they really not used to be something?
I genuinely don't think that they were a thing yet.
Interesting.
I don't know though. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Someone let us know. I'm going to read what they both posted. His post read, "It's been a crazy few months to say the least. Cass and I have been doing a lot of self-reflecting. Sometimes people are just meant to be friends, and that's okay. We both have grown immensely and have been through so much together. So this isn't the end of our story. It's the start of a whole new chapter for us. My heart is broken." It's the drama.
Dang it. I tried to scroll back on his Instagram, but he's deleted all of his posts before 2021.
That's so annoying.
Colton!
Actually, I think I might touch on that in a second. She followed with her post that read, quote, "First off, I want to say this is one of the hardest things I have had to share, as neither one of us is quite ready to talk about it yet. However, because our relationship is such a public one, our silence on the matter has been speaking for us. Colton and I have broken up, but have decided to remain a part of each other's lives. With all that we have gone through, we have a special bond that will always be there. I love Colton very much and have an enormous amount of respect for him. We have both learned and grown so much through these past couple years and will always have each other's backs. Always." End quote. So that was her post. For some reason, Cassie received a lot of criticism about the breakup. I'm guessing it was because she was so wishy-washy on The Bachelor, so when they broke up, people thought that it was her fault, and like for some reason Colton was so beloved that I feel like probably his fans just came for her. But I'm assuming that most of this was happening like in her Instagram comments, because at one point she fired back and commented back at someone and said, "It's been an awful few months for me trying to go through it. I'm still going through it. It's hard enough without all your know-it-all comments. You literally know nothing, so go away."
Dang, it looks like I'm like in the 2020 era on her Instagram, but it looks like she deleted it. Has since deleted it, which is fine because she's like married now or whatever.
But also annoying.
Would have been nice.
Would have been nice. Anywho, about a month after they broke up, there were social media posts from Colton and Cassie's sister. Her name is Michelle. She actually dated Greg Sulkin for a while. I don't think they're still together.
What? I love Greg.
Yeah, this was like lore, because I think that they actually were dating when Cassie was on the show. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, Cassie Randolph's sister is dating the werewolf from Wizards of Waverly Place."
Wait, that's crazy. That's so funny.
I know, so wild. But this was super weird because what they were posting about was the four of them, meaning Cassie, Colton, Michelle, and Greg, having gone and gotten like matching tattoos.
Okay.
Isn't that strange?
No.
It's not strange?
No, like it's like, oh, sorry, I thought that was me agreeing.
Isn't that so odd?
Yes, that's very odd. Like,
I know.
Like, if it was just like a sister thing, fine. It would be weird if it was like just a couple things still, but not as like weird as all four of you going to get something.
I know. And just like, what are you guys getting? I never found out like what the tattoo was, but it's just really odd.
Did they ever live together? Why am I feeling like I saw videos or something? Somebody vlogged at some point, I swear to God. Because of the Greg Sulkin thing, now that I'm thinking about it, that's not new news to me. I swear to God, I've seen something.
It had to resurface in my brain too. Like, I had forgotten about it.
I don't know, man.
But I mean, this still doesn't really make sense to me. Allegedly, it was just something they did for fun, like as friends.
The tattoo is like a big deal, but okay.
Right. It was still a little surprising because they seemed so solid via social media, but by and large, it seemed like the breakup itself was super amicable and mutual and also respectful until in July, and it really was until July of 2020. Cassie Randolph sits down with Chris Harrison.
Flashback.
Anyone who doesn't know who that is, he was the Bachelor franchise host for like over 20 years. He no longer is, but at this point he was. It was like this weird special that they were doing during COVID times. I'm assuming to make money for the franchise. It was called The Bachelor: The Greatest Seasons Ever. And she just happened to be one of the Bachelor franchise alums that was asked. I'm assuming they also asked her because she and Colton had just broken up and they wanted the tea. She does discuss the breakup very minimally. Like, she really did. I watched the clip. She really did not give any details about the breakup or what really happened. And all she said was that they were on good terms. It was actually so boring. Like, she said nothing of interest. I'm sure that the network was probably like, what the freak? Like, can you please give us some tea? Which is what makes it so weird that Colton was pissed at her for even mentioning the breakup publicly, even though she literally exposed nothing.
Okay.
Like, I actually cannot emphasize enough, like, how bare minimum her commentary was.
Yeah, so then why is he losing his mind?
I wish I knew. But he was so pissed, so much so that he literally posted on his Instagram. I don't know. Okay, this is making me think that stories were around, because he posted on Instagram and said, quote, "When our relationship ended, we agreed to handle things as privately as possible as we attempted to navigate our new relationship as friends. I chose to do that since we were living in this interim period. But obviously a lot changed this week."
What?
How crazy is that?
That's super odd.
Like, it's giving psycho.
It is.
And it's like a warning sign for what is about to follow. She fires back also on Instagram saying, quote, "Colton, as you know, we made an agreement to not publicly discuss our breakup. I have honored this, as have you thus far. As some of you may know, I did a greatest of all time interview this week. I purposely remained private and vague out of respect for Colton and our relationship. I don't want to make enemies with or turn my back on the franchise," which she was also probably under contract, potentially. Let's think about that.
Or, like, she's also just getting paid. Like, get over it.
So true. She continues on to say, "I would like to place on public record and ask you to politely refrain from discussing our relationship as we agreed. I would also like to ask that you don't cloud our great 1.5 year relationship with a messy breakup and refrain from prolonging our breakup or dragging me when we both know it's unwarranted. Period."
Thank you.
Like, genuinely, I would have lost my mind if he like dragged me like that on social media for literally saying nothing. And also, he wrote an entire book eventually, which included details about their relationship.
And that book came out after their relationship was ended or during?
Yes, after.
Well, then he can shut the fuck
I
up.
think.
Regardless, he still wrote like a whole book, so at that point you can really just say whatever you want in print.
Truly. Okay, it came out before. It literally came out before she went on and did that interview.
Okay.
It came out in March of 2020.
And then they broke up in May.
They broke up in May. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like, how are you going to be... Then here's the thing, though. This is where it gets crazier. The tea was that the chapter about their relationship wasn't even an original chapter. He added it later. So after everything that transpired when he publicly shamed her for going on the Bachelor special, then he like writes this freaking paragraph or this chapter that he puts into the book later about their relationship.
So the book comes out and then post breakup he wants to add a chapter to the book.
Correct. That's as I understand it. That's the information that I had.
Weird as hell, but okay.
She addresses this publicly, saying to him, I don't know if this was on Instagram or wherever, but she said she did publish a statement at some point that said, quote, "On Monday evening, you informed me you intend to monetize our breakup by writing a new chapter to discuss your experience with COVID, in parentheses, where you stayed in my family's house during your recovery and about our breakup. You have also refused to give me any sort of approval on the chapter you will be writing, which will heavily feature me. This seems a bit unfair to me. Colton, you can do what you want, but please do not have a double standard."
Like, what's with the double standard?
It's giving hypocrite. You're pissed because she said that everything was fine after the breakup and that you were still friends, and now you're gonna write a whole freaking chapter on her? No. Obviously, things are not going well, and they subsequently unfollowed each other in August of 2020.
We saw that coming.
Right. By September of 2020, Cassie had asked an LA judge for a restraining order against Colton, which was granted to her just a few days later. The reason behind the filing was domestic violence prevention, so she was afraid that it was going to become a violent situation should she not be granted this restraining order. As for the terms of the restraining order, she asked for it by claiming that Colton had attached a tracking device to her car to track where she was going, that he was constantly sending her harassing text messages and showing up out of nowhere uninvited to her apartment in LA and her parents' house in Orange County.
So weird.
The restraining order was temporary, but it ordered that Colton stay at least 100 yards away from Cassie, her home, her car, her job, her parents' home, and her school. I'm not sure if she was like a teacher or if she was like in school for something, but
I feel like she was a speech pathologist. Don't ask me where that's coming from.
oh, I think you might be right.
I like literally just that came out of like the air and into my mouth. But I think she did like speech therapy situation.
Good memory. I can't believe I didn't put that in her little bio. But I think you're right. So a little bit more specific on what the restraining order actually outlined. In terms of the texting restrictions, it was ordered that he could not, quote, harass, attack, strike, threaten, assault, sexually or otherwise, end quote. She also claimed that their relationship actually ended in mid-April 2020 and that the stalking incidents began in June of 2020 and continued all throughout that summer. I do have some of the specific things that he was doing that made her pursue the restraining order. Some of the harassing texts that he sent her were as follows. He said to her, quote, because you're a selfish person who isn't ready to be loved. I spent 2 years loving you the best I could, and now I'm sitting here feeling like a fool. You've hurt me beyond words. I've always done nothing but be there for you, and you still disrespect me all the time. She responds to that, what did I even do? And he answers saying, you hid things from me and been so shady.
Okay.
Like, girl, be so for real.
Where's like the real stuff? Like you didn't say anything.
Right. Like, also, you're both sitting out here saying that the breakup was mutual. So
what?
Even if it wasn't, you're lucky she didn't clown your ass when she broke up with you in the first place. After he had cooled down, he eventually messages her and says, I apologize for some of the things I said last night. I'm lost right now. I'm drowning. So clearly, to me, he's having these like manic episodes where he's just like having these outbursts, it seems. He did admit to going on multiple walks a day to her apartment building in LA, and Cassie and some of her friends had even seen him doing this from her balcony. So that's scary as hell. For anybody who's ever lived alone,
yeah,
you know that that's scary. She also included an incident from July 25th of 2020 where Colton allegedly somehow knew who was coming in and out of her apartment, which she realized after her friend Kaylin, who was also a former Bachelor contestant. I think that's the same Kaylin.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, right? I feel like it's probably the same one. Kaylin came over to Cassie's apartment and suddenly, repeatedly, Colton started calling her and texting her about it, and it made her feel like she was being watched. So Kaylin comes over and then like somehow Colton knows and is like it's like if you're stalking somebody, like I mean, I don't know, I'm not an insane human being who's ever stalked anyone before, 100%. But like, aren't you trying to like do it secretly?
Typically the stalky does not know.
Right. It seems weird to me that he would like expose himself like that. And to me, it more so says that he thinks that this is a normal thing to be doing. Like he doesn't think there's anything wrong with what he's doing.
He's like, yeah, I just know what you do every second
exactly.
of the day.
Terrifying. A few days later after this, Colton shows up again at her apartment, still raging about Kaylin's visit, yelling and threatening her, and apparently even said to her at one point, I'm going to keep you accountable.
What does that even mean? What accountable for what?
For breaking, literally, like, this is what pisses me off about him so much. Like, he clearly has such a, like, superiority complex that he just thinks that he's the boss of people, and he has such an inflated ego that he thinks that, like, he has the right to be saying these things to somebody. Like, oh, it just makes me so mad. Just after this, he then texts her, quote, I'm just sitting in bed trying to fall asleep, wondering if the woman I'm madly in love with is having a good time with her ex.
What?
Random. He continues on to say, I have a million questions and all of them I don't know if I want answers to. My head hurts a lot right now and I miss my best friend, my lover, and the person I never expected to lose. End quote.
My head hurts. You got a headache. You got a migraine.
So does mine, Colton, writing this episode.
Where are these messages coming from? Did she like post them somewhere?
I think they were maybe in the restraining order.
Okay.
But somebody might have told. I'm not even really sure, to be honest. She responds to this and says, Colton, I really care about you too. I know going through everything is hard and sucks, and I appreciate you calling me to talk with me. But I also won't want to make it into something it isn't. You know that us trusting each other and being cool with each other and caring about each other is still there. I don't think that is something that should be able to flip-flop so easily. And also, it's a different road we are navigating now that we aren't used to. Don't be upset. You know I care about you so much. You know that.
Well, that was very kind of her. She didn't have to say any of that.
Of course. And she does say that she really was just trying to placate him to keep things friendly and not escalate the situation. And there were other messages where this was made clear. She said at one point, I care about you, but this continued anger and drama cycle has got to stop. It's not healthy. You do you, I'll do me. That doesn't mean we don't care and aren't kind. Just means we have to let go a bit in order to make things healthier.
Interesting.
It's like literally her trying to like beg him to be normal.
Yeah. She's like, please, can we just be regular?
No. She's like, I've never had to deal with an insane human being like this before. Another incident was when Colton began texting Cassie and himself. Let that sink in.
What?
Harassing and threatening text messages from an anonymous number, which he pretended was a random stalker, but it turned out to actually be him sending the messages, which he did admit to.
That's insane.
This is where, like, truly, that's like insane behavior. One of the text messages, just in case you were curious, one of the messages read, quote, "You like playing games, huh? Let's play some games then."
And he's saying this to himself?
He's literally sending this to himself and to her.
That's crazy.
Terrifying. Some of the text also accused Cassie of being with another man. She also claimed that he taped a tracking device to her car, and she was right because she found a tile tracking device taped to her back bumper.
How horrific is that? Like, that feeling, I can only imagine.
Oh my god. It reminds me of in the first season of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders documentary when Kelsey talks about an Apple AirTag being put in her car.
Yes. I was about to say, I was like, I don't even know like what a tracking device would look like, but AirTags are tracking devices essentially. They're not meant to be used on humans, but
and it's like, I genuinely, these women are so much stronger than me because I would not be able to leave my house ever again if, like, without a bodyguard, if I found out that somebody was stalking me and tracking me.
Literally.
How terrifying. So she's like, obviously I'm being stalked. So she hits up the police and a private investigator. And it took them all of 2 days to prove that he was behind both the tracker on her car and the anonymous messages.
Yikes.
In terms of him being banned from showing up at her parents' house, this stemmed from an incident also in June when her brother and 2 of his friends claimed that they saw Colton in the alley outside of Cassie's room at her parents' house.
Nope.
And even after...
Nope,
not at all. Immediately no.
Like, are you a serial killer? No. Back up.
Genuinely, this had all the makings of a Criminal Minds episode. Even after he was confronted, he continued to loiter outside and around their house and just like the general area. So the hearing for the restraining order was October 6, 2020, which was also the day of its expiration. So this was, like I mentioned, I think this was a temporary restraining order. And ultimately, Cassie does end up dropping the restraining order in November of 2020 following some sort of private agreement that she and Colton came to. Colton posted a statement about it, which read, "Today, Cassie asked the court to dismiss the temporary restraining order against me. The 2 of us were able to reach a private agreement to address any of Cassie's concerns. I do not believe Cassie did anything wrong in filing for the restraining orders, and I also believe she acted in good faith." Which I agree. I think she definitely acted in good faith. She knew that it was only going to get worse.
Seems to be like a normal statement from him.
Absolutely. And I think she knew, like, I don't want this man to end up in prison, and if he keeps acting this way towards me, he's going to.
He needs to come.
Yeah, he needs help. Back to what you were saying earlier about how he doesn't have anything on his Instagram before 2021. After, like, all of this happened, Colton deleted every single one of his Instagram posts during the scandal and did not return until December of 2020. So that would make sense. Why?
Couldn't go farther than, like, early 2021.
Yep. All was quiet on the Western Front until April of 2021 when Colton announced in an interview with Good Morning America that he was in fact gay.
I mean, really just throw everybody for a loop.
It was shocking. I remember when this happened.
I'm still a little shocked. I believe, who was his husband? Because he's married,
well,
right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
You know what's so funny? I was literally scrolling on TikTok today and came across, just like on my For You page, this TikTok popped up. You know who Billy Eichner is?
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, he's like this guy who goes around like the streets of New York and like asks people questions, and he like screams in their face. He's really chaotic. Honestly, my worst fear would be running into him. There was a video that he did with Colton at one point where he literally says to Colton, because I'm pretty sure that Billy Eichner is gay, and he says something about himself being gay, and then he's like,
What if you were the first gay bachelor?
He literally says, Colton, you could be the first gay bachelor. And Colton's like,
This was like while they were filming The Bachelor, correct?
No, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like his press run or something.
Yeah.
How funny is that? Like, just like, I'm sorry, like, look, it's the criticism that I have for Colton, obviously, is not about the fact that he's gay. Like, by all means, be you. Nobody's saying that's the problem.
No, that's not our issue.
It's
our issue is
like,
you stalked a girl for a year.
And also went on 3 Bachelor franchises as a straight man.
As a straight man, where you were dating women.
And you were the lead. And he does eventually come out and say, like, I always knew I was gay. I just was avoiding this part of myself, which is very sad. And I feel awful for him that that's an experience that he had to live for so long.
Yeah.
But also, like, there has been a significant amount of criticism around the fact that he wasted those women's time. Like, you misled them. And you could have just declined being the lead and dealt with your struggle not on national television versus dragging 30 women into this.
Because it's also not like he was the only person they could have ever picked for The Bachelor. And maybe the producers made him feel like that. Like, feel like he couldn't turn it down. But, like, in hindsight, he should have been thinking, oh, there were, like, 30 other guys on my season. Only one got picked. They can pick from the larger pool.
Absolutely. He should have had the maturity as a 26-year-old man at the time to know, to say at least internally to himself, this is not right. If I know that I am not going to be able to invest in any of these women because of who I am, then I should not put them through that.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
I mean, there was probably a lot of internal conflict. I'm sure, like, he truly does feel terrible for doing that.
100%. It's like, I'm sure he does. I'm not really sure that Colton has a lot of humility just after just knowing what I know about him and after this episode and everything. Nonetheless, this part is horrific. He was allegedly blackmailed into coming out, which is really sad and unfair.
Well, that's horrible.
He apparently what happened, I don't know. Like, all of this is alleged. I'm not sure if this is like confirmed details. Apparently he had started going to a spa pretty regularly in LA, which had the reputation for being a frequent spot for gay men in the city. One day he received an anonymous email from somebody threatening to leak nude photos that they had of him to the press, like at this spa, attending this spa. So he and his publicist decided to just have him break the news himself, because obviously that's a better situation for you and everybody involved if you're, able to share that news yourself.
How horrible of a person do you have to be to threaten somebody like that?
I know. And it's also, almost like, what were they were they asking for money? Like, is that what this was about? Because, like, Colton was not wealthy. Like,
no.
He was like a public figure, but he was not a celebrity by any means.
Yeah.
During this Good Morning America interview where he revealed to the world that he was gay, he did address a scandal with Cassie. He didn't say much, as they did have a legal agreement that inhibits him from being able to, but he did publicly apologize to her. He said, I would like to say sorry for how things ended. I messed up. I made a lot of bad choices. Being gay made being in love with Cassie more confusing for me. I loved everything about her. I wish I would have been courageous enough to fix myself before breaking anyone out.
Okay. Not a bad statement.
He did speak on any allegations that he may have physically abused her, which she never claimed, by the way.
No, she never said that.
No. But he does say, I did not physically touch or physically abuse Cassie in any way, shape, or form. I never want people to think that I'm coming out to change the narrative or to brush over and not take responsibility for my actions. And now that I have this gay life, that I don't have to address my past as a straight man. Controlling situations to try to grasp at any part of the straight fantasy that I was trying to live out was so wrong. So that's what he had to say. I think that this part is really where a lot of the controversy comes from surrounding, like, what he said about not trying to, like, capitalize off of him coming out. Mm-hmm. Shortly after he announced it on GMA, he announced that he had a documentary with Netflix coming out about his experience in coming to terms with his sexuality and telling the people in his life.
Absolutely not. What do you mean?
Like, basically the whole premise of it was, like, him going around to everyone in his life telling them that he was gay because he grew up in, like, a pretty religious household. And that was like basically the whole thing. And it's called Coming Out Colton, in case anyone is interested in watching it. But how strange is that?
I just feel like these are like private conversations, maybe.
I know it. And also, it just like does not fit your narrative that you were just like, that you're not trying to cover up your past. Like, to me, you and your publicist spun up this documentary because you don't want the headlines to be about what you did to Cassie anymore.
Yeah, also, what happened to like not profiting off of this?
Period. Literally so true.
I can't believe it's still on Netflix. 6 episodes.
Oh my god, is it really? There was a lot of criticism that he was really capitalizing on his sexuality, just as he had capitalized on all the women whose time he had wasted on his season of The Bachelor and also Bachelor in Paradise. People felt that he was trying to bury his problematic past by coming out and doing a Netflix special about it. And that just because he came out, it doesn't negate the fact that he literally terrorized his ex-girlfriend, but he was now being put on like this pedestal for like coming out so publicly.
Mm-hmm.
So whether, there's two sides to every story. Do I think that Colton is like a bad person? No. I think Colton has never been told no in his life. And he's always gotten what he wanted. So that when Cassie was like not giving him exactly what he wanted, and then he literally stalked and terrorized her, and then it now is like, this is a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
And now I need to like figure out a way to, and unfortunately he was blackmailed. That is like the one part of the story where I feel bad for him.
Yeah, that is not fun.
He does admit in the Netflix doc at one point, he says about Cassie, he doesn't directly reference her, but we can all assume, I put a poor girl through a hell of my own insecurities. In terms of his coming out, from Cassie's lens, she apparently found out with everyone else. Like, he did not get in touch with her.
Okay.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
In March of 2022, she made an appearance on the podcast Off the Vine, which is Caitlin Bristow, another former Bachelorette's podcast, where Caitlin, of course, asked Cassie about the whole thing. She said that she found out about Colton's coming out via Good Morning America's Snapchat story.
That's messed up. Snapchat.
I know.
For real?
Right? She said about all the incidents that transpired on the podcast, she said, quote, I haven't talked about it, so it's really hard for me to talk about it at all or even know the right thing to say when addressing it. I feel so much pressure when asked about it, and that I would love to be able to be open and candid about things, but I'm just not there yet. I'm sure I will one day want to speak on it because there's just a lot there.
That's fair.
I feel terrible for her because I feel like what she's saying is like, I'm extremely hurt by his actions and the fact that I found out about him coming out with everyone else, but if I say that, then I could potentially look like a bad person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just feel like he put her in such a tough position, like their entire relationship, and now even past their relationship. Colton went on a Bachelor podcast called Almost Famous, which is hosted by a former Bachelorette, Ben Higgins, and a former Bachelor contestant, Ashley Iaconetti, who is also, side note, going to be on Real Housewives of Rhode Island the new season. Yeah. Which is fun. But he went on their podcast and said about Cassie speaking out, quote, whatever she needs to say, I've always from the very beginning said whatever she has to say or vent or do, I obviously have no control over that. It's whatever she feels like she needs to do. Which is not what he was saying when he blasted her.
Absolutely not.
Like, this is why I don't like him. He just changes the narrative to like fit whatever is convenient for him and gonna make him look the best. But Cassie also went on this same podcast at a different time, and they asked her how she felt about his coming out, and she says, I'm very happy that he is at peace with himself and not carrying that burden anymore, of course. It was a very just overall hard time for me, so I feel like there was just one thing after another, and I was extremely overwhelmed with everything going on. He basically blames all of his behavior on the fact that while, yes, he could have handled things better, that it was, quote, all just part of his journey.
Whatever.
That's the Bachelor PR training coming out.
Yeah, for real.
The only other time that Cassie has ever really addressed the situation was on a vlog on her personal YouTube channel, which is where you might have seen Greg Sulkin.
There it is. It's coming back. Cassie and her sister moved in together, and there was a move-in vlog that Greg was on. Cool. And that is where I'm getting that. I need to find that vlog. Cool. I knew it. I knew YouTube was involved. I knew it.
You knew it. It was in the back of your head.
It was there.
Look, 2020 was a wild year, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of current relationships, because despite me not having moved on from this situation, the two of them have. Cassie has been dating her now fiance, a musician named Brighton Reinhardt, since 2021. But I think before, because he was definitely the guy that Colton thought she was seeing when he mentioned in that one text message, like, you're with another guy. Allegedly, this new man wrote a song about Colton and the stalking incident in which he titled Creep.
Okay, well, Cassie did just get married to that guy, I believe. On literally, like, Christmas Day or something like that.
Yes, they got engaged in November of 2024 and just recently got married in December of 2025 in Costa Rica, according to Dumois. I don't know if she's posted anything.
Yeah, well, Cassie, yeah, I saw her wedding dress.
Okay. I'm sure she looked gorgeous. She's a gorgeous human being.
She is.
In November of 2021, Colton Underwood revealed his new relationship with a man named Jordan Brown. And by January of 2022, they had bought a house together, and that next month they were engaged. They got married in May of 2023 and welcomed a child in September of 2024.
I don't think I realized he had a kid.
Yes, they adopted a child. I remember when they announced that. They are only about 6 years apart in age difference, he and his husband. But I remember when he first launched that relationship, like, on his social media, I was like, and everybody else was like shocked. Like, his husband looks so much older than him, and everybody was like, oh my god, is this man literally 50? Colin's like 30. That's like the information that I was actually expecting to find when I was writing this episode, but it turns out they're only about 6 years apart. In terms of what they are up to now, I don't really know anything about what Cassie is doing, but she seems to be doing well. She is married, so happy for her. I hope that she's moved past this and has found peace in her life away from this crazy person. And as for Colton, he hosted a reality dating show that aired on Hulu with his co-host Caitlin Bristow, who I just mentioned, called Are You My First?, which is literally about virgins dating each other. I truly cannot think of a weirder premise.
Wait, and it hasn't come out yet? It's just been, like, filmed?
No, I think it has.
Oh.
I actually think it might have come out right around the time that we started this podcast, but I was like, we're not watching that because that's just, like, absolutely bizarre. And there's no shot it'll get picked up for a second season. Like,
a group of virgin singles gather at a tropical resort to find love and explore intimate connections without judgment. What?
So bizarre.
That's weird.
So weird. Also, Caitlin Bristow's whole thing on her season was the fact that she, like, slept with Nick Viall, like, during her season before Fantasy Suite. So just, like, a very weird casting for hosts. I don't know. It's just very strange.
It is 5 stars on Goodreads. Not on Goodreads, on IMDb.
On Goodreads, I'm sick. Most recently, Colton is also currently appearing on this season of Celebrity Traitors.
Crazy.
So I will be interested. Julia, like Julia said, she's already started watching it. He's made comments. I saw a TikTok today that somebody was saying every single time he's on camera, he mentions being gay. So I'm interested to see how it's all going to pan out. I just think it's good. This Traitors is funny in general. I actually feel, if I had to make a prediction, I think Colton might be a traitor.
I'm not telling you.
So that is the story of Colton Underwood's stalking scandal.
I do have a question about the Traitors, though. Do they change or do they stay the same the whole season?
They'll stay the same, but they might, like, add someone.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they don't, like, take it away, because then that person would know who the other traitors are.
Oh, that's, a good point.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there was a lot more to this than I thought. Like, I really just thought it was going to be like, oh, she got a restraining order because he, like, showed up at her house once and, like, was knocking on the door or something. And it's just, like, it's very odd behavior. And look, I hope that Colton has turned over a new leaf, but do I think that we should be continuing to give somebody who made these decisions as a full-grown, fully functioning adult? Not really.
Nope, can't say. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed that episode, and we now hope you go watch Traitors, because we're going to be covering that starting on Tuesday. Well, we'll actually already be covering that low-key.
True.
Anyways, we hope you go watch it if you haven't been already, because it's super good and it's not hard to catch up because it's only on Fridays and they release a little batch at a time, so, like, it's not hard.
Yes.
To get behind. And
I'm happy that I'm introducing Julia to yet another show that she's liking, because it was wishy-washy there for a while with Special Forces, but she ended up liking it.
Yeah, I was a little wishy-washy there.
She likes Traitors too, so that's good.
But yeah, we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Go forth and gossip a little bit. But we'll see you next time.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for more pop culture chaos. The stories we cover are based on research and publicly available sources. While we strive for accuracy, some details may be disputed or unverified, and this episode is for entertainment and informational purposes only.